everybody, this is Chase with Miles Together Co. Welcome to our first video on this channel. Today we'll be going over just a trip that Jenna and I did a couple weeks ago. And that video of the hike will be coming out next week. But the purpose of this one is just to look at some of the logistics, because I spent a lot of time going into it and kind of creating a route. And just want to share it, and maybe save you some time if you're looking to go out and enjoy nature. So let's go ahead and get started. Yeah? Okay. All right. So I'm going to zoom in a second here. So we were in Pisgah National Forests, specifically Shining Rock Wilderness. And as you can see, we got a lot of different lands and waypoints in here. We've hung out around this area a lot, so it gets a little messy. But for the purpose of this video, I will hide everything besides this folder, because that's what we're looking at today. So if you don't recognize this, I use Onyx Backcountry. I don't know if it's better or worse than any of the other ones, but just kind of had a good deal going on when I decided to go with it. So here we are. And I have no complaints, really. So let's start zooming in. So we started at Shining Creek Trailhead, which is, for us, we live right outside of Charlotte. So it was about a 2.5 hour drive. We were able to leave work a little early, get there at a reasonable time. So we got there around 5 p.m. So had a hustle, but weren't pushing it too much. So we start here, and this first little stretch right here, I believe this is called the Shining Creek Trail. And then we turn right and kind of start the loop. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, it gets hard fast. I mean, we are straight up right in the beginning. I usually do the planning, and Jenna isn't fully aware, so she usually looks at me with questionable thoughts about halfway up this, thinking if she could trust me or not, But it always works out in the end. So as you see here, I believe you start the super steep ascent around 0.8 miles, and it lasts about 1.6. So it's not super long, but it is crazy steep, and it doesn't do it justice. I knew it was going to be steep because I was looking at this, but it's always different in the moment, But then it flattens out a lot. I mean, you could tell over here, most of the trail real flat, and you could do a lot of miles pretty easily. So the first day, we kind of continued down this way and started to get some good lookouts over here at Old Bunt Knob and Beach Spring Gap. And this was the first waypoint I have marked on here. And as you see, I put a note, 3.2 miles into the hike, and then I kind of put a note saying how much we would have to hike the next day if we decided to camp there. This helps me just when we're out there and kind of figuring out what our plan is. And since it's in the national forest and you don't have your assigned camp sites like you do in a national park, it's kind of more freeing, but also it gets a little tricky because you're like, well, maybe I want to go further, maybe I don't. So you have to kind of be plan to be flexible. And also this area is very crowded, so you never know if the spot you're planning to camp at is going to be taken, and you want to have a backup plan if that happens. But we decided not to camp there because we're still in pretty good a time. We did eat dinner there, so we took a break, ate dinner, and then kept going. But we wanted to make our next day shorter if we could. And I'll try to give you a 3D view just to kind of show the elevation profile. So as you can tell, it was pretty flat along this whole area. We went back uphill, right up here, just a little bit. And that's where our second campsite option was. Unfortunately, we didn't camp there either. We probably would have, but we could tell there were people there when we're still on trail. We could hear them over there, and we've been in this area before, so we knew we could only we knew there wasn't any other campsites and that you can't really fit that many people there, so we were not going to intrude on them. But I mean, this is a really cool area, and we planned for this. I don't know if you were able to tell, there's no water yet that we've passed except for the very beginning. Maybe if you go down here you could try to find some, but we did not try to do that. I think that's pretty steep. So I was carrying a lot of water just in case we had to camp that night with no water source. But we ended up going this way, and then this brown route I have here is an alternate. So the original plan was to probably camp here and then continue on the yellow and so on. But because our next campsite option was right here, kind of did a detour, which worked out perfectly because there's water. So we were able to rehydrate as much as we could, fill up our waters, brush our teeth, because we already ate dinner, so we didn't have to do that when we got to camp, and then finished our hike. At this point, it was getting pretty dark out, and this was all forested, so really dark there. Once we got to camp, about 8 p.m., I believe, 8:30, it was practically just after sunset, which was beautiful. So this is kind of like a open area with no big trees around this. I think it's called Flowers Gap. And it's a beautiful camp spot. I mean, one of the most gorgeous that I've ever slept at. Views on both sides of the ridge, and sunset, sunrise, I mean, gorgeous. I'm gonna see if I could show you the satellite view just to get an idea. If we zoom in here, you can see there's a lot of options to kind of camp out. There's a little firing here. There's no fire ban. Fortunately, we were not able to build a fire. And then all these campsites. There were a few people here, so we kind of had to make do, but plenty of options, especially if you're by yourself or have a one-person tent, you could squeeze in better. But it was both Jenna and I. And then I'll see if I could kind of show you their view. So this is towards the sunset, which is beautiful, and obviously in person looks way better in person. All right. But that's it, and we didn't do anything that night because it was dark and we want to get our tent set up and go to bed. In total, that first day to that campsite, we hiked about 5.5 miles, stopped for dinner and refill some water, and that was about it. We did pretty good timing, 5 to 8:30, so not too bad. That first going super slow to start though. It was really challenging. But then we got up bright and early. There was going to be a great sunrise, so we wanted to see that. And then we knew we had a big day, so wanted to get up early for that. And we just continued down this brown path. We've been over this grassy cove. It's a little deceiving. You think you might get a good view up there, but really the better views are along this trail, the Art Loeb Trail. So I forgot to mention that too. Once we turned down here, we are on the Art Loeb Trail, which is a very awesome, well-known trail in North Carolina. I have not done the whole thing, but I've done large parts of it in this area. It is on my bucket list to do the whole thing though. So then once we get to Investor Gap, which is, we'll talk about it later because we ate lunch there this day, but we kept going. I mean, this whole road, it's an off-roading road. So it's kind of wide open, it's not single track, but there's views going out looking to your right the whole way. And then, yeah, got a water source marked here. I think this was from last year. So they kind of changed it this year, and I believe it was closer to, well, they had more options closer to the trailhead. And then also, right here, right around where this connection is, there was some water. Which is good, because last year when we came up here, there was very limited. It's like the only water source. But we kept going. And this whole area gets way more busy, as a warning, because people could park up here. But I mean, it's busy for a reason. It is beautiful. And so we kept going past this parking lot, which we have driven to that before and hiked from there. It makes the trip a lot easier. You don't have to climb up really at all, besides a little bit here maybe, or yeah, just a little bit here or there, but nothing crazy like we did to start. And you just get like gorgeous views from the start when you park up here. The drive is gorgeous, so that's highly recommended too, especially if you want a shorter hike and just good views and more relaxing. But we kept going, and then we dropped through PAX right before we got to the incline for the Sam's Knob. Again, absolutely gorgeous view from up top. Had a little snack here, didn't eat lunch, overlooking kind of the trail that we just came on. And if you wanted to, there's some spots for your campsites and tents up here, so potentially an option in the future for us to go back there and look at or sleep there. But we went back down, picked up our packs, came back this way, and we were at this point deciding what we wanted to do because we wanted to get as close to the car as possible and have a short day, the last day, but didn't want to overdo it, I guess is the easy way to put it. So instead of turning right up here and going up to Black Balsam, we kind of stayed on this Investor Gap trail. Now, if you've not been in this area, don't do what we did. Come up to the Art Loeb Trail, and there's just insane views this whole trail up here. Some of the best views in North Carolina. And there's also campsites just all over the place. So again, it's crowded with day hikers and some people backpacking. If you are wanting to camp up here, you probably want to get there a little bit earlier in the day to make sure you have a spot. But highly recommended. And we were too lazy, so we did not do that. We decided to go for more miles instead. So we stayed on the flat Investor Gap Trail, which was nice, just to coast for a while, keep the speed up, back to the water source, got some more water. And then, as you see, I put these campsites here. That was because when I was planning, these were potential options for us to camp. I wanted another campsite with a good view because I wasn't sure where we were going to camp the first night. Thankfully, the first night we got such a good spot, I wasn't too worried about it the second night. But so that's why I have these here, and same with this marker. This is also, a really good spot, and you're not surrounded by a million other campsites, so it's a little bit more secluded. I can't say that word. It's more solitude. Yeah, you're by yourself. I couldn't say that word. But we were going to eat lunch there. People had the same idea and were eating lunch there. So again, we just kept going around. And if you go over top of this, which is a little bit more work, it's not too hard. There's a lot of people we've seen camp up here in their hammocks. And then there's a spot like right around here that we've camped at in the past. So there's some options for camping here. But the views aren't anything crazy unless you're like right here or on the other side of Investor Gap. So we went around keeping it easy for us. And we had lunch in Investor Gap. Now I mentioned how this was a off-roading road. In the spring, or in the fall, not the spring, people could car camp here. So when we've camped right here, a bunch of cars there, it gets loud. But it was closed off when we were there. So we were able to enjoy it. And if you can enjoy it before cars come in, I would recommend it. It's a wide open grass area, maybe a bit windy, and it was chilly when we were there, so we were wanting to be blocked from the wind a little bit. But you could see right here, huge wide open grass area, and the cars normally come down this road and then pull in here. And then I haven't been to this area, but I believe more off-roading road. But again, if you're here, you got sunset, sunrise this direction, and a bunch of different options. You can even set up camp here and do a bunch of day hikes and then come back and sleep here if you wanted. And it's also cool because this is the border of the wilderness. You can see it right there, Shining Rock Wilderness. So it's a cool sign that you're entering it with a good view behind it. We ate lunch there, enjoyed ourselves, took off our shoes, relaxed, saw a bunch of people come by, took photos for some people. Just, good afternoon in the sun. A little breeze, not too bad. And then we kept going. So we got a couple more miles in. I don't know exactly, but let's see where we're at. So that was early in the day, and then now we're coming back. Where are we? Here. So it's still been flat. The highest peak you see right here is at Sam's Knob. So besides that, all of today has been this flat terrain, a little uphill for Sam's Knob, and then coming back down with Sam's Knob and flat again. So we, like I said, kept going, came around here, and we were kind of shooting in the dark. We thought about coming to these, actually not these, because these are kind of far, even though it looks really close. There are some campsites hidden right by this water source we thought about, but it was crowded. I mean, I felt like I was in an amusement park almost. People everywhere, hear people talking, playing music, because there's campsites here, on the other side of this, there's these campsites up here, and kind of all along this little area. But we ended up finding a spot kind of right in this intersection that no one else was at. And I mean, a lot of people could have came, I don't know why. No one really noticed it. It was kind of hidden. And it was great. I mean, it was peaceful. We got there pretty early, had plenty of time to relax, make dinner, whatever. And then we did a quick sunset hike up here. And we were going to go up to this tip, but instead there's some weird other path that's not marked here that we kind of stumbled upon and had an insane view of the sunset. And then we were like, shoot back down. Nice and easy to this campsite. So it was, although we weren't camping on sunset, we still got a great view. So no complaints there. And we got to bed early, got to wake up early. So that's the end of day 2. And we hiked a total of 11 miles that day. Pretty great mileage for that being our second backpacking trip of the year. We were trying to slow and steady work our way up into higher mileage, but we felt good and it felt good to do it. So that was our second day. Third day, back to the car. Not super long. We got up around 6:30 a.m. on our last day, ate breakfast, cleaned up camp, headed off down here. And this one is the opposite of the first day. Pretty steep downhill to start, and then kind of levels out. Let's see if you can see here. It's definitely not as steep because it's over a longer mileage of downhill. And honestly, some people, it hurts their knees and legs to do downhill. It's not too bad for us. We're able to move pretty fast, which is nice. So it was pretty uneventful last day. You're hiking along this beautiful stream here. I don't know if there's a name of it. Probably is. I think it turns into Shining Creek eventually. Here you got multiple creeks coming together, which was pretty. And just kind of cruising our way down. We didn't stop for lunch or anything. We had a snack break for a couple minutes. And then all the way back to Old Butt Knob Trail down here at the bottom. Right around here, this says 19 miles, a little over. So that was the end of our loop / not loop, kind of whatever we created, you know. And then back on the last trail, the Shining Creek Trail to our car. So the last day we hiked about 4.5 miles back to the car. So we were back around 10:30 and able to get home at a reasonable time, which is always nice because you got to clean things off, put things away, and get ready for the work week. But yeah, I mean, that was this trip. I kind of, you could see here, just named it Shining Creek Trail to Sam's Knob because you go from Shining Creek to Old Butt Trail to Art Loeb Trail to Investor Gap and then all the way back. So kind of created it ourselves and hard to explain what trail we did. But it was awesome. Highly recommend. Warning, very steep in the beginning. If you want to avoid that camp or park by this Sam Knob trailhead, and you'll have a beautiful drive, a beautiful hike, a little less pain. But maybe you want the pain. I kind of like it, you know? Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We got the video coming out next week for the actual hike, showing you the beautiful sunset, sunrises. some of the pain that we were in the beginning. But thank you. Hopefully, you come back for more. Have a good day.